So this is the cause of all of our unhappiness. Since we're 4 or 5, we start to realize that there is something called money. And by the age 7 or 8, you kind of figure out what kind of financial situations that your families are in. I met a kindergarten boy who said, I will not get a Christmas present because my family is poor. And I asked him, do you know what it means to be poor? And he said, I don't know. My mother told me we're poor. So, we just begin to realize that there is something called money. So since then, we've been hurt so much about not getting the right present, not getting to go to summer camps, and not getting the same toys that my all our friends seem to get. And so we just feel so bad about money and how we've been treated in our family. And how many times have we been scolded by our parents, saying like, don't waste money, or what did you do? Do you think we're Rockefeller families?
A famous line,
I have
yeah.
I have a collection of all the terrible words that our parents used to say. It's so universal.
Hmm.
One time, there's a saying in Japanese, if you don't have money, that means you don't have a head. That get me nightmares for days. Like, when I grew up, I'll have no head because I'll have no money. So those scary sayings are kids, that we grew up. I think parents wanted to make sure that their kids are okay, but I think they're doing it too much. So money could be such a scary monster chasing after you if you're not careful, if you don't study hard, if you don't do something right, it's going to catch you. So instead of just saying, money can be your best friend. So just do whatever you love in your life and then money will follow you. So just enjoy money because life is to be enjoyed. If all the parents used to say that, I think we're having a different life, probably a lot less stress and
Yeah.
worries. It's there because it's so embedded in us. It's almost like DNA.
Hmm.
So I give couple counseling and family counseling, and I usually need to go back to 2 generations. So that means like your grandparents or grand-grandparents had a hard time getting over the Great Depression in 1930s. It's because of those what happened in 1930s and 40s gave so much scars to our grandfathers, grandmothers, and then scarred grandparents did so terrible job at raising our parents, which was a cause of our misery. So we need to go back to at least 2 generations to figure out what's in us. So when you're afraid of starting a business, why is that? It's because your parents used to teach you if you don't have money, you'll be in big trouble. Why did they say that? Because the same thing their parents, which is our grandparents, used to say when our parents are small. Why is that? It's because our grandparents had such a tough time during the war or depression or right after the war. Because of that, we have a different cultural background, and it's got some pros and cons. Like I have a huge respect for Latin American cultures because you respect family and also bonding. That's great, but at the same time, this bonding could be it's such a restricting energy too. So it has some good and bad, and then most of the Western culture we're taught to be alone, be independent. But too much independence gives you isolation too. So when you are having a hard time, both financially and socially and emotionally, you have a hard time reaching for help, asking for help. So we are so good at giving help, but we are so bad at asking for help. So that's because of this, we have to be independent. So in North American culture in general, except Latin American or some immigrant cultures, it's almost unthinkable to ask help among brothers and sisters. And also, I was so shocked in North America. Your best friends and don't talk about how much money you make to each other. Like asking money questions is such a big taboo.
Oh yeah.
So in Japan and in Asia, we casually, like at high school union, we casually ask about, hey, Alex, how much are you making? Like, oh, you're making so much. Oh, that's great. I'm so happy for you. But in North America, if you get asked, how much money you make a year in a college reunion, like, you get out of here, right? These days, we have such a cultural taboos in so many different areas. By the way, Japanese guys don't care about how the questions like how much money they're making. They don't care about it. But when it comes to sexual issues, there's a big taboos. So you can freak out all the American business people about how much money they make. So you can ask Japanese businessmen, how's your sexual life? And then oh my God. Yeah, it's so interesting, about what brings you so much excitement and what brings you so much shame. And money is such a great extractor of shame in any culture. Because when you talk about how much money you make, how much money you
don't make.
Yeah, you don't make, but the whole area brings out so much shame. So unless you heal this embarrassment or shame or guilt, you cannot really enjoy money.